with Brian Siders, and Brian came down this weekend for APF Raw Meat. It's going to be on TV and Fox Sports South here in a few weeks, and a lot of people have been asking a lot of things what Brian's doing and stuff, so we're trying to just put this together, kind of let him speak his mind and let you know what he is doing. So kind of start off, Brian, how old are you now?
I'm 32, I'll be 33 in September.
Okay.
So getting ready to turn 33.
How long you been lifting?
I believe this is my 20th summer of training as far as just general weightlifting, lifting in general. I've started competing in powerlifting in 1995. So.
Who would you think would be one of your, or a couple of your main influences, you know, getting you started and, you know, helping you along the way and stuff?
Well, as far as people from the public eye, you know, as a teenager I would read bodybuilding magazines, and I would read about Bill Kazmaier and Ed Cohn when he had a big feature in Muscle Fitness, and I kind of, I don't know, I was a little bit interested in the bodybuilding training, but when I saw those guys, you know, I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Okay. What were some of your first meets, you know, back when you were getting started?
When I first started, I was playing football. I played a couple of years of college football, so at Glenville State. So I guess the competing for powerlifting was something fun I did in the off season as I lifted for football. But my first contest was a bench press meet only. I didn't even know what a bench shirt or wrist wraps were, I don't think. And so it was a big learning experience. And I got 402 my first contest, and I weighed 242, believe it or not. It was the only time in my life I ever cut weight for contests.
Now you're force feeding all the time, right?
Yeah, now it's the opposite.
Oh, man. So, as being the greatest IPF heavyweight champion of all times, what are your best numbers in IPF conditions?
My best totals, 2650. The best squat was done in the USAPL meet, 1019. Best bench, 799. My best pull is 865.
That's awesome. And how do you think that you got there? Just, you know, being, you know, the kind of training that you do, and just all the experience and just the people that you work with, and
a little bit of everything. When I was a teenager, I got hooked up with some local powerlifters that were mainly masters lifters, and mainly John Messenger and Vince White. They would train me, but they taught me how to figure out how to train for myself. And as the years went on, I just kind of, I took in all the information I could take in, and just learned through trial and error that more volume and more frequency workouts seem like they respond best for me. They may not be the best for everyone, but it's, you know, if I was getting stronger, you know, on a regular basis, then I wouldn't, you know, I would keep doing what I was doing. So if I wasn't, I would, you know, drop something out, or just basically learn as you go.
okay.
Still learning.
That's the way we all need to be, and that way we can get better for sure. As all the competitions that you've had and stuff like that, who are some of your, you know, best competitors, or the guys that you really admired or kind of looked up to, or, you know, just gave you the best, you know, competition to you?
In the strongman, I've admired a lot of strongman competitors. I mean, a lot of strong guys that are just strong in every aspect of strength, from deadlifts to overhead press. And then, of course, when I first started competing in the IPF Worlds, there was another lifter close to my age that, you know, seemed to be, that may have been a little bit higher in the total. Papazov, who's not lifting anymore, he was an influence on me. We became friendly competitors, and we would talk a lot as best we could. He didn't speak English. We talked about training through a translator, and so those were good times.
That was some good time. I remember being around some of that. That was really fun. So, who in your thoughts and stuff, Brian, do you think are, you know, the top 4 or 5 powerlifters in history, or in this generation, or just that you've seen and admired?
Well, I guess. If I had to break it, I wouldn't even consider weight class or anything. Just overall, I would, I had to put Kazmaier in there, Ed Cohn, Ryan Howard. I mean, people talk about Kaz, but they often overlook Ryan Howard because his total was very similar, and some of the equipment he had was even less. Actually, it's his total without knee wraps or anything is I'm kind of interested in breaking that one day if I can. Let's see, Mike Bridges, if I didn't mention his name already. I was always impressed by Lamar Gant. I mean, he figured out how to weigh. I mean, obviously he was a great deadlifter, but he also figured out how to bench with his long arms.
Well, that sounds like a good place to start right there. And Don Reinhold, for sure, like Brian said, there's a lot of people that really don't, follow back lifting that far back, but that guy was one of the best for sure. Brian, what's your plans kind of in the near future and stuff? There's a lot of people asking me that almost daily, and it's hard for me to say, so maybe you can put it and let us know what you're thinking and what direction you might be going in.
Well, I guess my immediate goal would be to hit a high raw total. It's not that I'm against equipment. I love competing in single ply. I mean, I've always believed you should compete where you enjoy the most and have the most fun. So, I loved competing in the IPF when I did it, and my 03 and 04 meets were, I'll never forget those. They're very important to me. But as I get older and more responsibilities, come into play in your life, it's like if I don't have a new challenge or a new type of goal, it's hard for me to do the same type of goals over and over again. So,
right.
So to try to stay fresh and have a reason to get stronger, sometimes I need to change things up just to have a mental change to stay motivated. So I did this raw contest and maybe do one more, and then of course I'm doing Night of the Living Dead in October. I need to get a reason to really focus on my deadlift again to get it back to where it should be.
Well, 865 is your best, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was at American Open in 08, is that right?
Yeah.
That was one of the strongest times I've ever seen. Your training must have been dialed in that time.
It wasn't. I mean, it was just one of those moments where I knew I had to have it, and I did it. I mean, it seems like it's when I deadlift the best. It really doesn't matter what the number is. It's just if I need a certain number to accomplish the goal. It seems like more times than not, I'll hit that number. So
that sounds awesome. I know Brian mentioned the Night of the Living Dead, and that's the Alex Campbell meet that he's had for several years. And if you hadn't heard much about that meet, it's going to be on XP TV, just like the meet that Brian did yesterday. Brian came down, and we were expecting and were told that we were going to lift the knee sleeves, and got surprised a little bit, but we just kind of rolled with it and just had a good time. And Brian set several records and won some money. And just a lot of times it's just sometimes stuff like that, just working with people in a different landscape of raw lifting or equipped or different things like that. It's fun to change it up, and I know Brian likes to do that, just have a new challenge. That's why he did a lot of strongman stuff, I believe. Isn't that right, Brian?
yeah, and a lot of times, I mean, you just asked me about my deadlift training. During the times that my deadlift was up like that, I was leaving a lot of strongman training in my training regimen. So, I mean, definitely that seemed to help.
What are some of the specific things that you did, maybe the stones or some other stuff that really kind of accentuated helping your deadlift and stuff?
Not really the stones, but definitely maybe the farmer's walk, the yoke carry. I mean, you're running with 1,000 pounds plus on your back. I mean, so anytime you got weight on your back or in your hands pulling your back, it makes the weights feel lighter if you do something like that. So.